It's story time. Okay. But first... Okay. Alright. You can read the light novel Danganronpa IF, written by that amazing writer. I know, right? Are you gonna start my song though? Okay. Let's see. Danganronpa character introduction. I don't care. Just gonna start from the beginning. Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc. Danganronpa IF, the button of hope and the tragic warriors of despair. Alright, from the beginning. Monokuma's monologue. The world is full of ifs. If Adam hadn't tied the knot with Eve, society as we know it would never have been born. The world that everyone lives in is just... Hang on. Alright. The world that everyone lives in is just one outcome among countless ifs, and will continue to be a muddled world overflowing with infinite ifs. If is what's important in miso soup, you know? What lies beyond this point is a scary world filled with iffy stepfathers who abandon their families. A Klein bottle where the inside and the outside are filled with uncertainty. But don't break it, okay? It'd be so expensive that there's no way you'd ever be able to pay me back. But no matter how you look at it, ifs are simply words like any other. No matter how hypothetical the story may be, the future is the only thing that's truly foggy. And the past is more solid than a frozen banana. You can't change the conclusion that has already happened. Even if you were to see a world that may have existed, it wouldn't affect the people living in reality. Because if is only if after all. Even if a parallel world exists where a particular if actually happened, humans cannot cross the boundaries between worlds that easily. I wish we could. I really wish. No matter how far if goes, it will always be a what if scenario. Do you really want to see that? You got some sick interests. Don't you think it's an insult to Makoto and the others after the tragedy they overcame? Though, as far as I'm concerned, I'll still insult them. If you're gonna look at IF, I think it's better if you view the outside of the Klein bottle first. If you view the ending of the video game called Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, try to play it multiple times and spend your free time with Junko and Ashima at least 3 times too. Are you feeling a lot better? I'm glad that you know that. I'm glad you're feeling a lot better. That's perfect. It's great. It's good news. I was worried, of course. You know I was worried. Yesterday I kept on saying things like, please do this, please do that. You know I was. Come on now. I couldn't show it. Obviously. I was a god once. I have an image to maintain. It may be ideal if you can collect all the items and movies too. But if you guys have come this far, I'm sure you've already done all that. Not all, but I've done some. Still, I'd buy that game if I were you. I'd actually buy at least 2 copies if I were you. The curtain lopes. Actually, I'm gonna buy 2 copies, Monokuma. I got you. You got a trilogy coming. I'm gonna cop that. What should I do with this? Makoto Naegi was at a loss. Despite his hesitation, his situation was extremely simple and composed of three key factors. The first factor was that Makoto was currently locked inside a school. Hope's Peak Academy is a school for the privileged elite, and each student attending possesses ultimate talent. Makoto was chosen to attend Hope's Peak Academy by a lottery held to select the ultimate lucky student when he arrived for his first day of school. He immediately lost consciousness, and when he woke up, he saw all the exits and windows had been sealed shut. The next factor was Monokuma, a mysterious robot bear being operated by the mastermind, and the announcement he made to all the students. "You'll be living your whole life in this academy," he declared. "If you want to leave, then kill someone and become the Blackened." This strange remote-controlled robot was telling Makoto and his fellow Ultimates to start killing each other in exchange for their freedom. They learned that more than one Monokuma exists, and that each one contains a bomb to prevent anyone from attacking them. On top of that, Monokuma announced that anyone who attempted to harm him would receive punishment. One thing I wish that Danganronpa games include, I'm glad they have this IF, but I really wish if I was the one who created this, honestly, I would have put IF in this. I would have put IF in the first game, and then the second game, I would have put the other thingy, because I think you could find the video on YouTube, I believe, because I think I saw it on YouTube. But there is a thing. There was a little like novel booklet kind of thing that was released with the DVD. I think, if I'm correct, from when I read it last time. Pretty much, there's a novel mini thing called the I think it was called Makoto Naegi's Worst Day Ever, and pretty much, you know how we know Naegi is the ultimate lucky student and eventually becomes the ultimate hope. Well, in his worst day ever, it's pretty much nothing but bad things happen to him, nothing but bad things. So it's mainly like Naegi's really the ultimate unlucky student, and then like there's this girl who truly is the ultimate lucky student. You know, she's supposed to be going to Hope's Peak Academy, but Naegi does something which causes her to, you know, get into an accident, and her invitation is burned and destroyed. So Hope's Peak does a lottery, and Naegi is picked, and Naegi's all like, "Oh my god, I get to go to Hope's Peak Academy. This is my lucky. This must be my lucky day." And then, you know, when he goes to Hope's Peak Academy, he's put in the killing game situation. So despite all of this, when he thought he was lucky, he was really unlucky. So pretty much because of Naegi's little mess up that made that one lucky girl get into an accident, she didn't have to deal with all this stuff. So she truly is the real lucky student, while Naegi's like super unlucky. And I was like, that's cool, I like that. That's pretty nice. The third and final factor was the red button that Makoto was currently holding in his hand. The words "escape button" were crudely written on this button in marker. And though the first two factors were certainly causes for panic, Makoto only seemed at a loss over the third. During his free time, Makoto noticed that the school store was open, and his curiosity got the better of him. He was overwhelmed by the disjointed atmosphere upon entering, but his attention soon focused on a strange vending machine. The words "Mono Mono Machine" were written on it, and it seemed to accept the strange bear pattern coins they sometimes found inside the school. It seemed like a bad idea, but Makoto thought there might be a chance that his machine could dispense some way of escaping the school. And so he inserted the only coin he had into the coin slot. And the result was the escape button mentioned earlier. There's a limit to how much you can tease us. Maybe the mastermind who trapped us here is making a cruel joke. These thoughts filled Makoto's mind, and he began to feel deeply discouraged. However, there's always a chance, right? Makoto was just an ordinary boy, and he only gained entry to Hope's Peak Academy through a lottery to find the ultimate lucky student. Maybe that luck was the real deal. Nah. If this button is real, maybe I can let Sayaka... Makoto took a deep breath and pressed the button. Instantly, pain burst through his entire body. Ugh. Makoto's arms and legs went limp as he lost his balance and fell to the floor in a crumpled heap. As he breathed heavily, it dawned on him what had just happened. I got electrocuted? He looked down at the button on his hand and noticed a small needle sticking out of it. Makoto quickly surmised that an electric current must have been running through it. That sucks. After regaining enough of his strength to stand back up, Makoto thought about it once again. I should have known it was a fake. Just how sick and twisted was the mastermind? What's wrong with you? Of course. Urza, where are we at? I know that since you're feeling better, were you able to get some V3 in for your day? Or no? Just, my head still feels a little woozy. I should go back to my room and rest today. With that in mind, Makoto walked out of the school store with slow, careful steps. But Makoto didn't know yet. If the escape button really was a fake, it would have been an act of mercy from the mastermind. A small bear-shaped window began moving around inside the now empty school store. The shadow Monokuma stood before the Mono machine and stared at it silently. But after some time had passed, he began to laugh, a cold, hollow laugh, utterly devoid of emotion. Despite the fact that he was alone, Monokuma began to talk, almost as if he was speaking to someone. Perhaps Monokuma was talking directly to the mastermind controlling him? I only put that the Mono machine because I thought it'd be interesting if one of the last few survivors happened to win it. But with a success rate of 0.0000001, I never thought anyone would actually win it. Perhaps I should have expected the ultimate lucky student to overcome such impossible odds. Monokuma stared, blushing and breathing heavily for no apparent reason. A robot like Monokuma doesn't need to breathe, but because his technology is super advanced, he can express himself like a living creature. Makoto was chosen through a lottery, and now he's won the escape button through a lottery. This is obviously impossible, right? Is this what a miracle is? This is all systems go toward escape. Is this all systems go toward escaping? Is something that defies all common sense about to come crashing into my world? Well, even though I don't really want this at all, I'm starting to enjoy this new sensation. We'll be back after these commercials. Monokuma's internal machinery began running at full capacity, and his facial expressions began changing more smoothly than any human could. Suddenly, his expressions immediately stopped, and he whispered through his speakers, "But is this really good luck?" After muttering something so ominous, Monokuma's loud screeching laughter rang, jeeringly throughout the room. The situation that was about to unfold contained two conflicting emotions in equal measure: hope and despair. The next day, nighttime. Jesus Christ. Well, you're feeling good now. At least you're feeling good now. The next day, nighttime. Student dormitory, Makoto's room. Makoto Naegi lay on his bed, desperately struggling with the despair and hope churning within him. Monokuma had forced the students to each watch a DVD earlier that day. Makoto showed a scene that suggested his parents and little sister were in danger, and he now found himself determined to leave the school. It seems the other students were forced to watch shocking videos of their own. Videos so shocking that they were now determined to escape the school too, even if it meant sacrificing someone to do it. However, it was obvious that these videos were part of Monokuma's trap. As long as a student kills someone, they were allowed to graduate and leave the academy. It seemed that the mastermind controlling Monokuma was hell-bent on making the students kill each other. But right now, Makoto was most worried about Sayaka Mizono, who seemed to be incredibly distressed after watching her DVD. Sayaka wasn't just the ultimate pop sensation, she was also Makoto's classmate when they were students at Blackroot Junior High. Yes, the game with Naigi's sister as the protagonist, that is Despair Girls. That's Despair Girls. Her optimism had been encouraging Makoto these past few days, and he was becoming a similar source of strength for her as well. Despair Girls was honestly... I'm not saying Despair Girls is bad, just like a lot of people in the DR fandom, they consider that game not bad but weak because they don't really like the whole gameplay style of it, but they still enjoy the story because, you know, it's a part of the DR stuff. And what else? I'm trying to remember what else. Oh yeah, like I said before, the beginning of the game's pretty slow, and like once you get like closer to the end, the story picks up a lot and it gets even better. And like in that game, just trying to gather the words. Oh, for me, I consider that game to be I consider that game to be missed potential, because you know you're playing as Naigi's sister, you know, and like I told you, Toko was on her side, you know, so and that game gives Toko a lot of character development. So it's like, and as we know that the tragedy's going on. So of course, I was always thinking I would have loved to seen like the ultimate despairs, you know, Kazuichi and everybody. I would have loved to seen all of them at that city, even though it wasn't. I would love to see them all at that city, just like having just fighting. Like instead, you're fighting other bosses. But I'd have loved to at least see one of the despairs. I mean, we only see one despair. We only see one remnant of despair in that entire game, and of course, we know who it is. Like, come on, it's the most popular character in the second game. We know who it is. And I was like, I want to see. Oh, we see two actually. We see one. We see Nagito, and then we see another one. We see another remnant. But I want to see that. I want to see Fuyuhiko. I want to see Peko. I want to see Gundam. I would have loved to have a boss fight with Peko or Fuyuhiko. That'd have been cool. But whatever. And then I don't think Weeby peeps it. But I know that but in V3, if you check a trash can, you find something that says Ultra Despair Girls 2 coming soon. And of course, Ultra Despair Girls 2 coming soon is a lie. It never came. But I would have loved a second Despair Girls game, or at least like a remake of Despair Girls. Give me one. Her optimism had been encouraging Makoto these past few days, and he was becoming a similar source of strength for her as well. If nothing else, I had to at least save Sayaka. As soon as Makoto thought that, he suddenly felt a small headache. Was he still reeling from being punched by Mondo the other day, or was this a side effect of being electrocuted by the escape button? As Makoto pondered these things, the pain slowly subsided, and he returned to his determined thoughts of escape. Anyway, we all need to work together and... Huh? At that moment, Makoto realized his goal had changed slightly. We all need to? Ideally, it would be best if everyone survived together. However, aside from Sayaka, Makoto had never met the other students before. He didn't know if they could even be trusted in the first place. But at that moment, he trusted them without even an ounce of suspicion. He believed they were worth helping, even at the cost of his own life. Just like Sayaka. Why? The headache struck again, as if all the blood vessels in his brain were being individually sliced open. Why did I think that I could trust the others as much as I trust Sayaka? Makoto tried to figure out why his thought process had suddenly changed. Something was wrong. The throbbing pain in his head seemed to synchronize with the strange feeling that something was approaching him. As a ray of light began to form within the dark recesses of his own mind, the doorbell rang. Someone's here? He quickly got out of bed, but that only made the headache worse. With no concern for his safety, Makoto carelessly opened the door to his room and came face to face with... Sayaka. I'm really sorry to come by so late. Sayaka? The pain. What are you doing out so late? The moment he saw her face, the pulsating pain in Makoto's head began accelerating. He felt like his world was being torn apart from the inside out. Sorry to bother you, but something really weird just happened, Makoto. What's wrong? And Makoto, what's wrong? You don't look so well. Sayaka was pale and had been trembling when she came to Makoto's room, but she seemed surprised to see that his complexion was worse than her own. Yeah, I'm fine. It's just my head. Makoto couldn't finish his sentence. His eyes rolled back into his head as he lost consciousness and slowly fell to the floor. And Sayaka's beautiful voice let out a scream as she stood over Makoto's body. The next day, nurse's office. Oh, you're awake. Hey, you okay? How many fingers am I holding up? As Makoto regained consciousness, he was greeted by the sight of 4 fingers adorned with long fake nails and being waved in his face. Huh? You're Junko, right? Hey, why do you sound so unsure? I'm a little shocked to hear you say that. Despite what she said, Junko Onishima, the ultimate fashionista, was laughing as if she found this all very amusing. Makoto looked around and realized he'd never seen this place before. Hurting you? I'm sorry. Ursa's like I'm gonna get sick again. It looked somewhat like a hospital. 3 beds, including his own, were lined up in the room, with various medical instruments laid around them. The black ceiling felt strangely oppressive, but as he sat up, Makoto's mind immediately centered on one possibility. Where are we? Did we get rescued? That'd be nice, huh? She replied as she looked away. Junko explained that this was the nurse's office on the first floor of the academy. One thing many people like to point out with Mukuro and her death, with how, you know, she got impaled by those spears. You know how she's like, people have like a small argument saying that's a plot hole. Others people rebuttal against that because it's like, Mukuro's the ultimate soldier. She's got amazing instincts. She should be able to do it. She should be able to dodge that. So it's like when Monokuma's like, "Come, Spear of Gungnir," and you know she got impaled. Many people are like, she should have been able to dodge that. You know, and then other people are like, wouldn't that seem weird if like the ultimate fashionista was able to do something like that? And at the same time, it's like, even if Mukuro could dodge those, people are like, Junko's got the talent of ultimate analysis, so she could easily see through Mukuro's defenses and get past them. So it's like, some say it's a plot hole, others say nah, it's legit. Junko can see through all that, but you know, personally, where I stand on that, I don't really know where I stand. That Monokuma thing said, I can't bear to see my precious student getting sick, and opened this place up this morning. Don't you think it's suspicious? What if all these meds are poison? To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised. Makoto remembered his encounter with the escape button and let out a small sigh. So why am I here, Junko? You should thank Sayaka for that. She was here the whole night, taking care of you. She was? Junko ignored Makoto's surprise and continued casually talking. But then Taka got all fired up and was like, "We should take turns watching over him. I just happened to be on duty when you woke up." Well, and even then, they are only because Byakuya had ditched. Of course he did. I see, thanks. Like I said, you should thank Sayaka. Anyway, how you feeling? Is everything alright? Makoto thought about it for a moment and remembered what he had been thinking about just before he lost consciousness. This is kind of weird, but actually, it's a really weird question, but what's up? Junko, we've never met each other before, right? Upon hearing this, Junko's eyes widened, but a few seconds later, she began to laugh. Huh? Are you for real? That pickup line is like, so totally played out, you know? Even though she was grinning, a serious look came over her face. Just so you know, you shouldn't expect anything like that from me. I know I look this way, but take my virtue pretty seriously. No, I mean, I never expected... Well, that's what I figured. It's obvious that you're a total omega male anyway. Makoto and Junko continued to talk to one another. Although he wondered why Junko was talking to him instead of leaving to get the others, Makoto didn't question it. He just wanted to talk to someone, anyone. As long as he interacted with his fellow students, he believed he would learn the truth about what was going on inside his head. 10 minutes later, Junko mostly talked about alpha males and omega males, her time being homeless, and about her past and her dreams for the future. The last topic was a lot heavier than the previous ones, but Makoto's calm demeanor seemed to cheer her up. She smiled sincerely and said softly, "Thanks, Makoto." Maybe it was a sign of gratitude for listening to her troubles, but she kept that same smile as she blurted out something horrifying. "In return, I promise that if I do kill someone, it won't be you." Don't say scary stuff like that. At least that's what Makoto thought, but the words that came out of his mouth expressed a different sentiment. "I see, thanks. But I wouldn't want you to become the Black End in the first place." For some reason, Makoto felt like the murderous words that came out of Junko's mouth seemed like a natural thing for her to say. That is true. That is true with her, like, you know, she's a soldier, yeah, and, you know, she's never had an injury in her entire life, being in countless battles, but, you know, I don't think she'll be able to dodge things that come literally out of nowhere. But whatever. Then there's also the other thing that the Danganronpa 3 anime did, where she was like, I showed you the scene multiple times where they're in the limo and Junko's trying to stab her with the ice pick and she's just like blocking Junko's hands. Most people are saying Junko should easily be able to stab Mukuro in the face, but most people are saying, come on, she's not trying to kill Mukuro, like, for real. That's probably just some sister playtime. But personally, I tried to look too hard into it. I consider it maybe like some sister playtime, cause trust me, I'm sure if Junko really tried, she really could have killed Mukuro if she wanted to. She seemed very surprised by Makoto's response and quickly blurted out, "Huh? Are you serious? I was just kidding." "Huh? Oh, yeah, of course. Sorry for acting so weird. No worries, let's just talk this up to you being woozy and from your recovery." She returned to her usual bubbly self and let out a big stretch and turned to Makoto. "I'm gonna get going now. Make sure you don't get killed before the next person arrives." After seeing her off, Makoto laid back down in the bed and started thinking to himself, what is this strange feeling? His dull headache continued as his thoughts began to blur. I was just talking to Junko, but I feel like I was talking to someone else. Who is she? The more he thought, the more it felt like his memories were sinking into a thick swamp. Each throb of pain pulsing in his head felt like a wave on the surface of that swamp. True, there's that. There is that. Like, Mukuro loved Junko a lot. Cause like I said last time, Mukuro doesn't really... in V3, not V3, in Danganronpa 3, it's shown Mukuro has like a massive